Hello, friends. Welcome to 2020 and my first Confessions of a Reluctant Entrepreneur. I'm going to be openly honest here. I'm flying a bit by the seat of my pants today. It's a seat of the pants kind of day. So yeah, we're into the new year and I hope you're all doing super well. I decided to hit the ground running this new year and do something maybe I should have done a little while ago. I'll explain what that is and I'll explain why I held myself back from it. And yeah, so let's do this. Let's talk today about navigating midlife career shifts for multi-passionate people. So if you don't know me, I am an author and I am a ghostwriter, and I'm also an artist. And I came out of 20 years in the dance community. So I started contemplating my career shift, my career change, when I was around 37. And I had done various things within the dance community. I was a dancer, a choreographer, and I also had my own dance company. I sat on boards for 2 nonprofits, and I also got my master's degree and then went on to be a dance movement therapist with the older adult population. I was very, very passionate about the work that I did within the dance community. But what started to happen was often I wasn't making enough money. There wasn't any full-time positions for what I did. And so I was often running from place to place. And I was still bartending on the side to make ends meet. And at the age of 37, I just realized that that was not something I wanted to continue to do. I really wanted to have some financial stability in my life. And I thought that the way to do that was to get an office job. So I got said office job. And a lot happened and life happens, and I realized it wasn't a mistake to give it a try, but it would have been a mistake to hold on to it because it's what I thought I had to do. And so I started contemplating leaving that job when I was around, I think, 39. It all jumbles together. So where was I going with this? My main lesson is that it's okay to leave something that you're super passionate about. I let dance define me. It was a big part of who I was. When I was thinking about not having dance in my life in terms of pursuing it professionally, I was very confused. I became very depressed. I thought I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. And it turns out that I didn't. It was very, very good to embrace the fact that I needed a change, that I was ready to move on and move on. Now, it's not to say that it wasn't without trial, and it's still not without trial. There are some days when I really, really struggle. I've had some moments even in the last week, like, where am I headed? Is this going where I want it to go? And, we all sit back and go, okay, I need to figure out what's serving me and my life and also others, and how am I giving back to the world. That's how I feel, and that's how my thought process goes with that. And I think the thing I've realized is that, or what I've seen, and I think the way that I can help, is to really encourage people to make a career shift if you're feeling that what you're doing right now is no longer serving you. And it doesn't matter what age you are. You could be 25, 30, 50, 60. I haven't hit 50 or 60 yet. I know I've got the white hair, but I'm not there yet. But I do think that anytime you're feeling this pull or a call to do something else, then you need to explore that. Don't do yourself a disservice. I know that there are factors that come into play and you think, well, I can't go back to school, I'm too old. Or I can't go back to school, I have all this debt. I can't do something new because I have bills to pay and a retirement to think of, and kids I'm supporting or elderly parents I'm supporting. There's all these things to consider. And I'm not necessarily saying that you should not consider those things. All I'm saying is that don't stay stuck in something you don't want to do or that you're unhappy in forever. There are always ways around it. And if you just keep saying no, then you'll always just stay stuck. So explore those opportunities, and yes, Hello, Kirk Brillin. It's nice to see you here. I'm not sure if you're still here. I cannot tell. But anyhow, I am talking about something actually that Kirk helped me with, or Tyson draws stuff. When I was first contemplating leaving that first office job I took, I didn't know where I wanted to be, and I felt super, super lost, very confused, incredibly depressed. I'd lost the thing that sort of defined me as a person, I so thought. And I didn't know where I was headed next. And I always kind of knew where I was going. So having this feeling of just being this aimless human being who didn't have any direction or purpose in her life really kind of took me down emotionally on the inside, definitely. And so on the train, on my commute into this job, I started writing a kid's book. One of my favorite books in the whole entire world is Dr. Seuss's Oh, the Places You'll Go. So much of that book spoke to me, and I often would find myself reading it again and again. And I wanted to write kind of my own version of that book, which is what I did with Sadie, a story about a girl who just didn't know. And Tyson Draw Stuff is the illustrator of that book. And while I was sitting on the train, how am I going to say this? I started to write about this young girl, Sadie, her exploration of wanting to figure out what she wanted to be when she grew up. And she starts off by exploring the house in her head and realizes that she needs to go out into the world to find some more answers. And as she journeys along, she meets a cast of characters who help her figure it out. And by the end of the book, Sadie, but also me, knew what she wanted to do with her life, at least for now. It can always change. But I knew that I was holding back on writing. And I've always been a writer. One of my favorite parts of school was writing. And I've always had a journal with me, usually carrying in my purse. But I just didn't think I was good enough. And I didn't think it was something I could do. And I also didn't think that it was something I could make money at. All super limiting beliefs. I'm still working through a lot of them, but it's been 2 years now, and a few published books later, and a few published books for clients later, a whole bunch of copywriting, and here I am. I'm a writer. It took me about a year, I think, for me to actually confidently say, yes, I'm a writer. Most people would say, well, what do you do? I'm an entrepreneur. I'm figuring it out. I don't know. But now I'm just like, yes, I'm a freaking writer. And that's what I'm doing. So here I am writing away. And yeah, it feels good. The thing is, who knows? In 10 years down the road, I might be like, oh shit, I'm ready to do something else. Here I go again. Maybe I'll write another book to help me figure out exactly what I want to do. There is definitely power in writing your future, and instead of waiting for things to come to you, to actually just sitting down and exploring the house in your head. I'm going to take a sip of water, actually. One of the things I get stuck in these lives is I feel like I have to entertain people, so I have to just keep going and going and going. But my point here is that there are many things that we come across in our life that we stop ourselves from doing for many reasons. I mean, sometimes it's just like, oh, I don't want to do that thing. But sometimes we just think, oh, I can't do that thing. Or, I mean, let's be real. When I was younger, I really wanted to be in musical theater, but the problem is I really can't sing. And I'm sure if I worked at it, tried a little harder, but it terrified me. I was that person who snuck out of the back of auditions. I was the person who, I don't know if anybody ever did this, but if you've done a singing audition and you've got a panel of people in front of you, usually they stop you when they're done with hearing you. I usually would stop myself and be like, cool, okay, I'm pretty sure you've heard enough, I'm out. So what's my point here? My point is, so that did stop me from doing well in musical theater. That's fine. I mean, I guess I could decide to try it again now, but the reality is I don't think I'm going to do very well in musical theater now. So I'm not necessarily saying like, you want to be an opera singer, quit your job and start taking your opera lessons and just go for it. Sometimes reality does have to set in a little bit. And for me, in terms of my writing right now, what that means is, sometimes I do take some work that's not necessarily my exact dream work. It just means that, I'm working towards it in a very realistic way, I think. Sometimes, most times, realistic. Yeah. So anyhow, Sadie is a story about a girl who just didn't know, and I published it today. Tomorrow it is going to be on sale. Yes, on sale for 99 cents. I'm going to put the link down in the comments here, but I'll be back tomorrow to share the link when it is on sale if you want to hold off for that. And again, this is the book that I wrote about 3 years ago and probably should have published, but it wasn't perfect. And so I'm letting go of my perfection. I'm starting 2020 by publishing this kids book meant for adults. Especially, this book is for you if you want to explore a career change, if you think you're holding yourself back from doing something that you really, really love. We only have this one life, or so we think. We have this moment, and in this moment, don't you want to be doing something awesome? Pick up this book. I hope it inspires you. And Yosa, so nice to see you. I'm sorry this live is ending, but I hope you catch the replay. I'll talk to you soon.